Welcome back to In Your Money. This evening we're discussing retirement financial planning. My guest is Polissa Dubé, and if you'd like to email me, my email address is info@anchorcapital.co.za. Let's finish off with the two-part system. Will companies have to get a tax directive for individuals?
Yeah. So
and are SARS ready for this?
Yeah. So to answer your question, the answer is yes. A tax directive will need to be obtained from SARS. SARS is actually busy with testing the system as we speak. They started on the 1st of July, and they'll be doing so up until mid-August or so. So I guess they're also doing their bit to try and be ready by the 1st of September. And my understanding is that they are trying to make it very similar to how, the process around when a person makes a lump sum a lump sum withdrawal from their retirement fund. So you'll still be able to ask for a tax simulation, and then, if you're happy with that, we can ask for a final tax directive. So the system will be similar, yes. But I think what people need to be aware of, a tax simulation, for example, doesn't show us, it's not an IT-88, so it doesn't show us what taxes are outstanding with SARS. We'll only be able to know that after the transaction, after the final tax directive.
And if you owe SARS money, you won't get any money.
If you owe SARS more than 30,000 Rand, your whole 30,000 is going to go towards settling.
So anyone who owes SARS, don't
So your affairs need to be in
just
order.
Stay as it is, because SARS cannot take money at retirement from your funds.
Yeah.
So let's just talk about one more thing that people are very neglectful. The cornerstone of a financial planner, the will. And we're not alone in South Africa who don't, 80% of the people in the world don't have wills.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a will, it's really complicated. Why is it that South Africans, we talk about it, they read about it, they hear about it? Why?
The Department of Justice put the statistic at 70%. So 70% of working South Africans don't have a will. And I guess...
So our programs of education has helped. It's come down from 80 to 70. So 10%, 10 of the 80 are now getting well. Congratulations.
So I think it's just one of those, we think, I'll do it tomorrow. Now, I don't know if telegrams come from heaven to say that your time is about to come up, please attend to your will. It simply doesn't. And so many people are caught, off guard. And then the other, I guess, misconception is that people believe that, you need to be rich for you to need a will. And that can't be far from the truth, A will enables you to make plans for when you're not around. I mean, if you have young children, for example, your will is the document where you'll be able to say, in the event of a natural parent not being around, this is the person I want to nominate as a guardian for my children. We can include clauses in there that protect their inheritance from a later marital regime and or creditors and all of that. So it's really an important conversation that is a cornerstone of a financial planning process, as you've said.
Well, I wrote to a client today, share with you, he left money to two sisters, and the one sister's now died. And so in the will it says, if one sister's not around, it must go to her daughter. He has no relationship with the daughter. She hates him. And he hates her. Exactly. And I've been saying to him for a month, you better change your will. I'd hate to go to your funeral and see how pleased your niece is because you've left money to, how will you feel? People don't really do it. Let's get to some emails. Jimmy in Port Elizabeth says, I'm 43 years old, and although I have protection for the family, I've not got much in retirement savings. How do I calculate how much I need to put away to give me some independence at retirement? Okay, that's how long is a piece of straw? Because everyone's got a different age, everyone's got different circumstances. But the question is that people are now in their 40s. They've lost out on 15 to 20 years of savings. You made the comment, people need to stay young. What advice will you give, Jimmy?
Yeah, sure. At 43, if you're the average Joe on the street, that is like the most expensive phase of your life. You're putting children through education or schooling, you're trying to pay off debt, and then Palisa and the rest of the financial planning sector expect you to be putting money towards retirement. So it's really an expensive stage of your life. But at 43, yes, like you say, I expect that you've been working for about 20 years or so. If you've been working for 20 years, the rule of thumb is that you need to have about 5 times your annual salary in a retirement vehicle.
Saved at age 43.
Saved at age 43, okay?
I've never heard that.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you've been working for 30 years, for example, you need to have about 10 times your annual salary
already saved.
Yeah. So if you're starting late at 43, I don't even want to tell them the percentage that they need to be putting aside to try and catch up. But it's north of 30%. It's actually in the 40s. And so that's a very difficult number for anybody to swallow. You know, how amidst everything else, how do you still save 40% of your salary? It's almost impossible. So I guess there are various levers that one can pull. Firstly, he said that he's got insurance for his family. That's a great thing that you've done. But I would say make sure that you're sitting with a financial plan at least once a year to make sure that you're not overpaying. What I often find in practice is that people maintain an insurance portfolio in their personal capacity, but they also have work benefits. So most of the time, you know, they're duplicating coverage and essentially just wasting money. So if you sit with a financial planner, we can do the calculations for you to show you how much coverage you need. And if there is a duplication, take that money, put it elsewhere, pay off some debt, put it towards your retirement savings. But if you find yourself in a situation like this gentleman who's in his 40s trying to catch up with his retirement savings, there's several things you can do. We were talking about longevity, us living longer. I think the rules around retirement funds also need to change. You know, if people are living longer, I don't think it's reasonable for us to expect them to retire at 65 as well. If you can stretch that, plan to be working a little bit longer. There are other things you can do. Perhaps you're paying off a sizable asset like a house. Maybe when you are in retirement, you can look at selling an asset of that nature to try and bolster your retirement savings. You can downscale a bit, you know, as far as your lifestyle and expenditure are concerned. So there are various things you can do to try and, you know, help yourself down the line.
You know, one comment, Jimmy, if you do nothing, you'll have nothing. So you've got to start to do something. It is a problem, and don't be scared for what Paulista said, but it's true. But, you know, you've got to start to think about it. You now, at 43, you've still got 20, 25 years to go before retirement. So you are at least taking the right steps. Do it. And for anyone, whatever your situation is, Paulista makes the point, I support that. Get hold of a financial planner. See where you are in the journey and decide what you still need to do. Barbara in Benoni says, how do you incorporate into a financial plan money needed at different stages in one's life? Because, you know, it's not all about saving. It's also about providing a deposit for a bond, educating children, replacing your car, all those different things.
Yeah. And the starting point in a financial planning journey is one having a good handle of their spending right now. So in other words, money coming in versus what needs to come out. You need to make sure that what's coming out is not more than what's coming in and leaving you in a deficit. And most expenses you'll meet that way, right? Like educating your children, putting your children through primary school, through high school. I sometimes get the question, you know, can I save for my children's education? It's very difficult to save for a child in primary. Yes, you know, if you're saving towards their tertiary education, at least you've got about 18 years to invest towards something like that. And even in retirement, you know, we need to have the conversation to say, well, what sort of retirement do you want? Do you want to be traveling? Do you need to replace a vehicle at certain intervals? And all of those goals, all of those requirements need to be factored into the plan that we put in place for you. And then talking about retirement, we then need to have a conversation to say, where's that money going to come from? Because your annuity one day is only going to give you so much. It may not necessarily be a lump sum that you need to buy a car, as an example. So that's why financial planning early on and being realistic with some of the assumptions and factors that we're putting into the numbers, you know, we need to thoroughly think about that.
Paulista, you're going to love Felicity's email. She said, many of us women earn a lot less than our male counterparts who are doing the same job, yet we need to save more due to our life expectancy. How can we women who are single at retirement ever have enough? Children, all those breaks and things. I mean, that's a subject that I'm sure you could talk for hours on.
Yeah. So, again, if you're talking to a young professional, for example, these are the conversations that we need to be having with them, because this is the reality of life, right? If you plan to have children and you plan to take a break from your career, just understand the financial implication of that. I often say to young professional women who want to have children down the line, if the starting contribution rate is around 17% into your retirement fund, put in a little bit more, just so that you can buy yourself that little bit of time. And of course,
the advantage of that is you've got the power of compound interest.
Exactly.
So if you put a bit more and then you have the break,
yeah,
that more is compounding for you, rather than trying to catch up afterwards.
Exactly. Yeah. And we can't run away from the longevity question. Yes, as women, we live longer, and so we need to plan for that. So it's proper financial, the principles stay the same. You need to start early, but importantly, you also need to know what your numbers are. So don't just be throwing into a black hole. Understand what's the goal, what am I trying to get to, and what do I need to be doing consistently from today to make sure that I get
Melissa,
there.
make sure you get ready for our next point, because we've got so many questions that we haven't been able to get through. A financial plan consists of more than just saving and investments. A significant component should be the protection in the event of the breadwinner's death. Industry statistics reflect that on death, most South Africans are underinsured. What is even more alarming is the extent of this underinsurance when it comes to disability. The objective of a financial plan, over and above the protection elements, is to build up capital during one's lifetime, culminating ultimately in having financial independence, which gives you options at retirement. Melissa, thank you for joining me this evening. It's important to note that our program tonight is to provide information. It should not be construed as advice. Next week's program, we'll be dealing with healthcare, and if you need to get hold of me, my details will appear on the screen. Thank you for watching, and good night.